Good afternoon, welcome, 12 noon approaching, coming right up. I've thought I'd taken the chicken view today. I'm gonna use the chicken house as my external support structure. As always though, you will need something like that, and a chair, and today an object or two. So I'll let a few people come on the live so that I'm not repeating myself. So old fire, I've got my cup of tea, well, good old trusty cup of coffee. As you can see, the chicks in the background are quite active. Normally they're just stuffing their faces with corn and anything else that they can get the beaks around. And then they patrol the perimeter, well, the inside perimeter of the of their enclosure, which is apparently quite a generous enclosure for 4 chicks. There she is. Which one's that one? That's Big Bertha. That's Big Bertha on, look, patrolling. The one on the roof is Lowry, and I don't think you can see any of the others. The little black one down there's the naked neck chicken. It's got a bold neck. Looks like she's been pecked all the feathers off her neck, but she hasn't really. She's designed like that. That's how she's made. And the other one, Egwina, has just got her head in the corn dispenser. Right, afternoon, Mrs. Perry. I can see your... Oh, I thought it said watching. I thought it said waving. It doesn't. It says Christine Perry is watching. Well, I hope you're doing a bit more than watching, Chris. I hope you're doing a bit of doing as well. Oh, my pet spider's back. Oh, he's having a dangle now. Gillian with the G is here. I can see you there. Any more for any more? Come on, join us. This is 12 noon. In fact, some of you may well be joining us on a bit of catch up. So that's all right. So we will need a couple of objects. I'm going to have my chair as my object to walk around as well. You don't have to have an object to walk around. Obviously the chair that I'm going to be walking around, and it's quite close to the chicken enclosure, it gives me other options for a bit of external support on walking and turning as well. But you will need any object or a selection of objects to be picking up, putting down and stepping over. So I could easily use me cup, me mug of coffee. The incentive there is when you're stepping over unemptied mug of coffee, don't tip it up. You could have a plant pot, just a random item that I found in the garden. Or another random item that I've just found in the garden, a sprinkler thingy-majoogly. So, oh, did you fall over? Chickens trying to do balance challenges there as well, I think. Right, everyone, so get your object, get yourself, have a chair, have some external support all in your area, and let's find ourselves in good posture as well. Just take like 1 or 2 bits over here. Get that chair out of the way. Okay, so we normally start with a bit of a posture check. So lift and lengthen, up tall, have a look around you. What external support options have I got? Oh, I ought to mind my fingers, putting my fingers there. They will get pecked. Pedal the legs. Lift and open the chest. Pedaling the legs, just the beginnings of a leg march. Move into leg march by all means at any point. And find your rhythm here. Get yourself into a steady rhythm. Now, if you are in seated, take a bit of a hip walk. Hang on a minute, let's switch the chair around to this side. That's better. Take a bit of a hip walk forwards. Settle the feet. Make most of your posture. And then we've got the foot pedals into leg marches in seated as well. Hello, Rommel, do you want some fuss? Always feels warm. I'm surrounded by my pet family. Get your arms involved as well. The elbows are bent, the shoulders are the main area for movement here. And as you do bring the arms in, try not to sink down or slump down. Try and sit high and light on your sit bones. Try and stand high, but feel light on those feet moving underneath you. Warming up gradually. Keep moving just for a couple of minutes into your circulation booster. And if you want, pause the legs, just give the arms a bit of a turn on their own. Lift the head, lengthen the neck. All part of feel upright, straightened up, erect, and ironing out the creases. Right, there we have your circulation booster. Now, in seated, some of you will be in seated anyway, making sure that you're in the front third of the chair, and during our reaching and bending, keep the feet really planted so that you feel grounded there. You're going to be bringing yourself forwards, hinging forwards, leaning forwards, reaching forwards. The higher the object, the easier the reach. The smaller, the flatter the object, the more reaching we'll have to do. So see what you've got around you. Have your hand, by all means, on the front, on one thigh. Lift up tall. Think about hinging forwards like we do when we enter our back of thigh stretch. Hinging forwards, use your hand to support your upper body, and reaching down. You can place that object in between your feet and then come back up. You can change hands maybe to take it to a different point on put down and pick up. You can try and reach that object and put it down more further in front of you than where it just was in between the feet. Lift, hinge, reach, securely pick up, and that might be any kind of grip that suits the object. Now, in standing, we're going to take a bit of a bend and a deeper bend through the knees. So you can set yourself up so that your feet are hip distance, or maybe that little bit wider apart. Depending on size of object, could depend on where feet go. You've got maybe your chair to the side of you, a bit of other external support. As you bend down, you can take your hand to the seat level, sit your bum back, bend through the knees, and take it through your legs rather than just through a leaning forwards position with not much knee bend. So have a look at that again. To pick up the object, just a side view, sit your bum right back, bend the knees a little bit further down until you can reach the object. Control it on the way down. You may get a bit of a balance challenge on the way down. The deeper the knee bend, also the more thigh work comes into play, the deeper the knee bend. But also we're going slow on the way down. If you go slow on the way up, it's maybe a bit too slow. To recover, as we do when we stand, we need a little bit of power, a tiny bit more effort, and a boost. So take your time on the way down to put that object down, but on the way up, press the feet into the floor and push up with a little bit more speed, a little bit more power generated from a tiny bit of a faster movement on the push-up. The kind of movement that gets you out of a low chair and as it happens, a low knee bend as well. Now, in seated, coming back to seated, you may have gone a few different levels that way. What about a few different levels to the side of you? So leaning, bending to the side. You can have your hand on the opposite thigh here. You might go a little bit further away from you, stretching out the arms a little bit longer. There might be a small lift of this side of your buttocks off the seat, but as long as this side's planted, you should feel secure. And I mean, I'm moving quite quickly from a sit-up to a bend forwards position. You might prefer to take just a little bit of extra time in seated, then your head's not going down and up too quickly, which we know can cause a little bit of vestibular disturbance and a bit of foggy headedness sometimes. So check your speed and make it relevant to you. Now, for a counterbalance, put down and a pickup, have a look here. So we're going to shift the weight onto what will be our standing leg. You can reach down towards the chair, maybe just put your leg out behind you and then reach down and then come back up again. See how you can do that again. So this time we're just retrieving it straight the way, just touching it down to the floor. There's the support. There's the weight over the standing leg with a knee bend. There's a reach down. And we can have a go at that on the other side as well. So you support on the side where your leg is going to stay still. Pause, posture check, take a moment, and then as I step back, I've just got the ball of the foot down. If you want, you can turn your foot out and keep the foot flat. There are a few different options here. You might find that gets into your hip a little bit on the standing leg a bit more. Try and have your knee in a slight bend position there. So that you're not locking out the knee and putting a massive stretch into the hamstrings area. Take a pause there. Right. I'll have a little sip of my coffee. Now, moving on then. Still using an object, but stepping over the object. And you also have the option here to step over an object in standing and then walk. Do a little bit of walking and turning afterwards. First of all, let's have a look at the this object and a seated option. So you will need to tuck your feet back. We don't want that object a million miles in front of us. And then use your putting down leaning action to recover there. Now we're going to pick up the knee. As you do so, you might want to hold on to the side of your chair. Most definitely lift and secure your posture. And we'll have a lift over of the leg there. You can just lift that back and then change sides. So I'm keeping all of my body weight really going through the sit bones at the minute. A step over could include a reaching action before you pick up the foot and place it back down. On the other side, with a reaching action and a bit of support, hand support on your thigh, you could step one foot and the other foot and hinge forwards, whether that's with a double arm or a single arm reach, it's up to you. See if you can get those ankles moving for you underneath as well. So heel, toes down, heel, toes down, hinge and reach, or just hinge, toes, ball, heel, toes, ball, heel there. Now in standing. I'm going to use my chair. I'm tight on space here, so you will hopefully have a bit more space. Oh, I've got a cat there to step over as well when I get to the other side. So if you would like, come close to your object that you're going to walk around, bend down, put down your object like we've practiced, and power back up again. Now we're going to move through a lifting and a stepping action for the front foot and then the trailing leg as well. So lifting, stepping, picking up that second foot, steady yourself, and then I'm going to walk round the chair. Now in the meantime, I've got a Rommel cat in the as an object as well. So I'm going to have to step over him as well. So I'm walking a circle around my chair. You don't have to walk a circle around a chair. It might depend on what space you've got. It might be that you step over the object and you take a turn around, picking up the feet, stepping round to face the other direction. And that's what you do. You might take a step over the object. You might take a walk down your room. You might turn around and walk back towards the object. So we've got a bit of walking and turning around there as well. I do quite like the walking and turning around the chair, so that's what I'm going to do with this next option. Thank you, Rommel, you're making stuff quite tricky there. But that's what happens with cats as well, isn't it? Make sure you're steady before you walk. There we go, I can get a bit more, it's a bit tight here for me. You might have a bit more space in your area. But there are loads of times throughout us being up and about where we need stepping actions. Okay, how are we doing for time? Right, I think we're about there. So the final thing to do really is to retrieve our objects and tidy up. So from seated, have a reach down, sit tall, get your object out the way. If you're in standing, take either your knee bend or your step and reach to pick up your object. And there we have your selection of balance and day-to-day actions that are going to be all over your day somewhere. Right, everyone, there we have you. Bridget's back. Hey up me duck. Thanks, Christine. Thanks, Gillian. Thanks, Bridget. Carol Watson as well. Thanks for joining me. Pleasure as always. Now, what's on for this afternoon? Tiny bit of marking. And a football chat with one of the other coaches, I think, is in order. End of season now. All matches are pretty much done now. They're definitely done for my lot anyway. Will we have a team for next year? These are me ponderings. Anyway, you don't want to hear what's in my head right now. There's too much swirling around. Thank you for joining me and allowing me to switch off from that topic for a few minutes of the day. Bex will be with you at 4 p.m. She's currently delivering a course in Weymouth, and I think she's staying on Portland, the island just off, which is beautiful. We went there a couple of years ago now, and I remember doing a movement snack from there as well. I'm sure it was 2 years ago now that we stayed on Portland. Really nice area, really enjoyed it. She needs to go to Portland Bill, the lighthouse on the headland there. The sea might not be too welcoming though to get in at that point. I kind of remembered it was a bit choppy against the rocks. Right, everyone, have a good afternoon. Ta for now. See you tomorrow.